Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Eye is a complex photosensitive organ that permits a fairly accurate analysis of the form, light intensity, and color reflected from the objects. The wall of the eyeball is composed of the three concentric layers, that is, the coats, an external fibrous coat. The external fibrous coat called the tunica fibrosa, which consists of the sclera and the cornea. The middle vascular coat, also called the uvea, the tunica vasculosa, and this is consisting of the choroid and ciliary body and iris. And then we have got the internal nervous coat, that is the retina. In this picture you can see all the three tunics of the eye, that is the outer coat, which consists of the sclera and the cornea, and then we have got the middle coat, which is having the uvea, and this is choroid and the ciliary body and the iris, and then we have got the inner coat, which is the retina. There are three chambers in the eye. The anterior chamber lies between the cornea and the iris. The posterior chamber lies between the iris and the lens. And the third is the vitreous chamber, lies between the posterior surface of the lens and the neural retina. If we talk about the cornea, the most anterior part of the eye, a highly transparent convex structure, it is made up of 5 layers. Anteroposteriorly, the anterior epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized, consisting of 5 to 6 layers of cells. The basal layers regenerates the cells. There will be a lot of mitotic figures there. Corneal epithelium turnover occurs each 7 days, and mitotic figures are seen especially at the periphery. The surface cells have microvilli protruding into the tear film. Epithelium has a very rich sensory nerve supply. Then the second layer is the Bowman's membrane, the very thick 8 to 12 microns. This is actually the basement membrane of the epithelium, and it is consisting of randomly running collagen fibers. It is responsible for the corneal strength. The corneal stroma, the third layer, is the substantia propria, which is the longest and the thickest coat. About 60 layers of parallel highly organized collagen bundles crossing at right angles to each other. The uniform orthogonal array of these collagen fibrils contributes to the corneal transparency. Fibroblast-like cells, which are known as the keratocytes, they have flattened cytoplasmic extensions like the butterfly wings between the collagen fibrils with proteoglycan-rich extracellular substance. Lymphoid cells are seen in the stroma. Then is the Descemet's membrane, thick homogeneous layer composed of fine interwoven collagen fibers organized in a 3D network. This is again the basement membrane of the posterior epithelium, which is also known as the endothelium. The posterior epithelium is simple squamous epithelium with the cells showing the features of active transport and the protein. So these are the 5 layers of the cornea, and these are the epithelium, the Bowman's membrane. Then we have got the substantia propria, the largest and the thickest zone in between. And then we have got the Descemet's membrane, and this is the corneal endothelium. Another diagram which can indicate that the cornea covers the anterior portion of the eye and consists of several cellular and acellular layers. The cornea does not contain any blood vessels, and corneal cells are supplied with nutrients by diffusion from the tear fluid and the aqueous humor. And epithelium I have told you this is the stratified squamous non-cornified epithelium composed of 5 to 7 cell layers. The basal layer of corneal epithelium shows mitotic figures. The corneal epithelium is highly sensitive and contains numerous free nerve endings. Bowman's membrane. Bowman's membrane, it is a thin layer which appears homogeneous and structureless under the light microscope. Electron microscope shows that it consists of a network of fine collagenous fibers which are embedded in a ground substance. No fibroblasts are present in this layer. This layer contributes greatly to the strength and stability of the cornea. Substantia propria, it is the thickest layer and constitutes about 90% of the corneal thickness. It is composed of several lamellae of collagenous bundles. These collagen fibers in each lamellae are parallel to each other. The fibrils are bound together by a ground substance containing glycosaminoglycans. Descemet's membrane, it is a thin membrane which appears homogeneous. This is the Descemet membrane, and it is highly refractile under the light microscope. It is actually the thick basement membrane of the endothelium. Endothelium lines the posterior surface of the cornea and consists of a single layer of flat or low cuboidal cells. The anterior cellular layer of the cornea is a stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, and it contains numerous sensory nerve endings. Underneath is a thin acellular collagenous layer which is called the Bowman's membrane. This is the person to whom it is named. The bulk of the cornea is made up of the stromal layer. This is the stromal layer which contains a number of fibroblasts that are embedded in a collagen. The stroma consists of about 200 perpendicularly oriented layers of parallel collagen fibers, which are type 1 collagen fibers. Between the corneal stroma and the covering corneal endothelium is the Descemet's membrane, a fine collagenous filament network which is collagen type 4 fibers. The posterior internal aspect of the cornea is covered by a cellular endothelial layer. Because of its ion transport activity, it keeps the stroma dehydrated. The corneal endothelium has a low capacity to regenerate after injury. The sclera is made up of episclera, the sclera proper, and suprachoroidal layer. It is the white part of the eye, an opaque layer of dense connective tissue that protects the delicate internal structures and gives the eye its shape. It is relatively avascular, consisting of flattened bundles of type 1 collagen fibers running in different directions parallel to the eyeball surface. There is a moderate amount of ground substance and there are few fibroblasts. The innermost layer of sclera adjacent to the choroid is less dense with thinner collagen fibrils. There are more fibroblasts, melanocytes, and elastic fibers. The sclera thickens posteriorly, reaching 1 millimeter at the optic nerve attachment, where it becomes continuous with the perineurium of the nerve. Limbus, this is the corneoscleral junction. It is the highly vascularized transitional zone between the cornea and the sclera. In the stromal layer of the limbus, there is the scleral venous sinus or Schlemm's canal, an irregular endothelium lined space that communicates with the anterior chamber of the eye via many tiny openings at the iridocorneal angle. Schlemm's canal is connected to the venous system and acts to drain the aqueous humor to it. The cornea is avascular, it is nourished by diffusion from the vessels in the limbus and the aqueous humor. The outer scleral layer, Tennant's capsule, is made up of dense irregular connective tissue and it is continuous with the anterior corneal layer. It maintains the overall shape of the eyeball. What is the aqueous humor? Aqueous humor in front of the lens, anterior segment. It is a watery fluid. It supplies the cornea and lens with the nutrients. It helps to maintain the shape of the eyeball, produced and renewed every 4 hours by the ciliary body. Let's talk about the choroid, that is the vascular tunic. The middle coat is called the vascular coat, and the vascular coat, it is the uvea, choroid, ciliary body, iris, and in between there is the pupil. Choroid, it is rich vascular nutritive layer which contains a dark pigment that prevents light scattering within the eye. Ciliary body, the lens is attached with the ciliary body. It contains muscles that change the lens shape. Iris is the pigmented ring of muscular tissue composed of circular and radial muscles. The reflex contraction of the circular muscles in bright light gives rise to the small diameter of the pupil, and the reflex contraction of the radial muscle in dim light, it gives rise to the large diameter of the pupil. So the pupil is constricted and dilated by the action of these muscles. Pupil is actually the central hole in the iris. If we talk about the choroid covering the posterior part of the eye, is a component of the middle vascular layer, and together with the ciliary body and the iris, it is referred to as the uveal tract. The choroid is a highly vascular thin layer with a loose connective tissue between its blood vessels. It lines the posterior 3/4 of the sclera approximately to the level of the ora serrata. The choroid is rich in connective tissue cells, collagen and elastic fibers, and melanocytes. These melanocytes give the choroid its dark color. The outer layer of choroid beneath the sclera is the suprachoroidal lamina. The inner layer, the choriocapillary lamina, is rich in small blood vessels and has a major role in the nutrition of the retina, from which it is separated by the hyaline Bruch's membrane. This membrane consists of 3 layers: the elastic fiber network in the middle and collagen layer on each side. Bruch's membrane is covered externally by the basement membrane of choroidocapillary vessels and internally by the basement membrane of the pigmented epithelium of the retina. The choroid is a loose connective tissue, and besides fibroblasts, macrophages, and other connective tissue type cells, it contains many melanocytes. Towards the retina, it is covered by Bruch's membrane or the glassy membrane. So this is the choroid, this is the sclera, and this is the retina. And in between the retina and the sclera, we have got this layer. The choroid layer is highly vascular, providing one of 2 blood and nutrient supply sources to the overlying retinal layer. Especially the region close to the retina contains a dense capillary network, and it is referred to as the choriocapillary layer. The ciliary body histologically consists of loose connective tissue rich in blood vessels, elastic fibers, and melanocytes. Apart from the surface adjacent to the sclera, the ciliary body is covered by 2 layers of simple columnar epithelium. Both are derived from the retina. The inner layer directly adjacent to the ciliary stroma consists of melanin-rich cells and represents the anterior continuation of the pigment epithelium of the retina. The second layer covers the first and consists of non-pigmented cells that represent the anterior continuation of the sensory layer of the retina. Ciliary body is divided into the ciliary muscles, bundles of smooth muscle fibers divided into thick inner circular and thin outer longitudinal layers. They are important in visual accommodation. Ciliary processes about 75 ridge-like or finger-like projections from the ciliary body. Each consists of a loose connective tissue core which is rich in fenestrated capillaries, and it is covered by two layers of the epithelium. Ciliary processes serve two functions. Number one, it gives attachment to the fibers of suspensory ligament of the lens. Number two, it secretes the aqueous humor by the non-pigmented epithelium into the posterior chamber. This is the ciliary body and the ciliary processes. This is the lens. Ciliary body is lined by two cuboidal or columnar epithelial cell layers. A surface non-pigmented layer which is extension of the posterior retinal cell layer, and a deeper pigmented epithelial layer which is an extension of the posterior pigment cell layer. These two epithelia are derivatives of the two layers of the optic cup and therefore are part of the retinal layer. The iris. It is the anterior part of the uveal tract, the colored part of the eye, a disc-like structure attached to the ciliary body peripherally and having a rounded aperture. Between all individuals, the number of melanocytes in the iris stroma is fairly similar. Rather, the variations in the amount of melanin pigment in each melanocyte determines the eye color. This is due to genetic variabilities in the expression of melanocyte proteins such as tyrosinase, melanocortin receptors, and others. Also, light is reflected from the pigmented epithelial layer covering the posterior side of the iris. Both epithelial lining of the back side of the iris are highly pigmented. Aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is similar to plasma but with a minimal amount of proteins. It is secreted into the posterior chamber and flows via the pupil to the anterior chamber to supply the cornea by nutrients. And then it enters the canal of Schlemm through the trabecular meshwork in the iridocorneal angle, then drained to the veins in the limbus. So this is the aqueous humor. This is the pathway of the aqueous humor. The lens is the transparent biconvex structure which is flexible. It is attached by suspensory ligaments to the ciliary body. It focuses the image onto the retina, changes lens thickness to allow light to be properly focused on to the retina. Lens is a biconvex transparent structure with great elasticity that decreases with age. The lens has three components: the lens capsule, a thick homogeneous refractile external layer that represents the basement membrane of the lens epithelium. Subcapsular epithelium, simple cuboidal or columnar cells lining the anterior half of the lens capsule. Cells at the lens periphery divide to give new lens fibers. And what about the lens fibers? These are extremely elongated, highly differentiated epithelial cells that fill the lens. They originate from the subcapsular epithelium and lose their nuclei and organelles to become very long, thin, flattened structures which are filled with proteins which are known as the crystallins. So this is the lens. This is the lens capsule, the lens epithelium, lens fibers. So there are three components of the lens. Lens fiber formation at the equator region. These are the lens fibers which are being formed at the equator. The zonuli fibers which anchor the lens are attached to the ciliary processes. Let's talk about the innermost layer, which is the sensory tunic. It consists of the photoreceptors, which are rods and cones. Rods perceive the dim light and they contain pigment rhodopsin. There are 120 million rods. Cones are concerned with the color vision, not evenly distributed, and they are concentrated in the fovea, and there are 6 million cones. Optic disc is a blind spot because where optic nerve leaves the eyeball. No rods or cones are present there. Macula lutea, yellow spot, area of high cone. Then we have got the fovea centralis. In the center of the macula lutea contains only cones, area of greatest visual acuity. If we talk about the retina, which is the nervous layer, the retina consists of two basic layers. The neural retina or the retina proper, it is the inner layer that contains the photoreceptor cells. The retinal pigmentary epithelium is the outer layer that rests on and is firmly attached through the Bruch's membrane to the choriocapillary layer of the choroid in the neural retina. Two regions or portions that differ in functions are recognized. 1. The non-photosensitive region, non-visual part located anterior to the ora serrata, lines the inner aspect of the ciliary body and the posterior surface of the iris. Number 2. The photosensitive region, optic part which lines the inner surface of the eye posterior to the ora serrata, except where it is pierced by the optic nerve. In the retina, there are 4 groups of cells. There are photoreceptor cells, the retinal rods and cones. There are conducting neurons, bipolar neurons, and ganglion cells. There are association neurons and others. And we have got the supporting cells, the Muller cells. The specific arrangement and association of the nuclei and processes of these cells results in the retina being organized in 10 layers that are seen with the light microscope. If we talk about the 10 layers of the retina, the retinal pigment epithelium, first layer, the photoreceptor contains the outer and inner segments of the photoreceptor cells, outer limiting membrane, the apical boundary of the Muller cells, outer nuclear layer contains the cell bodies, nuclei of the retinal rods and cones, outer plexiform layer contains the processes of retinal rods and cones, inner nuclear layer which contains the nuclei of the horizontal, amacrine, bipolar and Muller cells. Then the 7th layer is the inner plexiform layer which contains the processes of horizontal, amacrine, bipolar and ganglion cells. Number 8th layer is the ganglion cell layer which contains the cell bodies of the ganglion cells. 9th layer is the optic nerve fibers layer which contains the ganglion cell processes that lead from the retina to the brain. And the 10th is the inner limiting membrane which is composed of the basal lamina of the Muller cells. So these are different layers of the retina You can see the ganglion cells, the amacrine cells, the bipolar cells. There is pigment layer of the retina. These are the horizontal cells, and these are the rods and cones. From outside inwards, if we see the cut section of the eyeball, we will see the sclera, the outermost white of the eyeball. Then we have got the uveal tract, that is the choroid. This is the Bruch's membrane, and this is the choriocapillary layer. And then we will enter into the retina. This is the retinal pigment epithelium. Then rods and cones layer, outer limiting membrane, outer nuclear layer, outer plexiform layer, inner nuclear layer, inner plexiform layer. This is the ganglion cell layer and the optic nerve fibers and the inner limiting membrane. This is the whole of the retina. Again, you can see a picture in which all the 10 layers of the retina are being shown. This is the pigment epithelium. These are the photoreceptor cells, outer limiting membrane. Then we have got the external nuclear layer, outer plexiform layer, inner nuclear layer, inner plexiform layer, the ganglion cell layer and the optic nerve fibers, and this is the inner limiting membrane. The outer pigment epithelium is derived from the outer layer of the optic cup, and it constitutes a simple columnar epithelium. The pigment epithelium cells contains many melanin granules. Here a clinical point: since the junction between the pigment epithelium and the external segment of the photoreceptor cells is weak, so this can lead to the retinal detachment, a condition that ultimately results in the degeneration of the photoreceptor cells. Rods and cone cells do not directly connect with the CNS, but rather via bipolar neurons and ganglion cells. So there are two synaptic layers in the retina, the inner and outer plexiform layers. The retina proper has a layered structure and contains a number of different neuronal cells and glial cells, especially the Muller glial cells. Let's talk about certain diseases of the eye. For example, the cataract. Cataract is actually the clouding of the lens, hardening or thickening. It is because of the diabetes mellitus, smoking, ultraviolet damage, and senility. In old age, everyone has to get the cataract extraction. Then glaucoma. Glaucoma is kala motia. It is elevated pressure in the eyeball and it can lead to the loss of vision. Then there is color blindness.